I think that's his way of saying, like, when he says world title fights, he means like world-class fighters. Don't expect this thing to run as smooth as everyone thinks. Don't expect because it's on CBS, they're going to run it longer than 3 to 4 hours. People lose interest.
I want to get your reaction to this notion from Donald Trump that there's going to be 8 to 9 title fights on the White House card. Obviously, a lot of people are replying like that's just impossible, and doesn't make any sense. But what do you think?
Yeah, there's only 11 weight classes. I highly doubt there's going to be 8 to 9 title fights. There will be world-class fights on that card. You will have some of the best fighters you could possibly have on that card. And he just misspoke. Let's just be honest. I mean, he misspoke. He just knows they're going to be. I think that's his way of saying, like, when he says world title fights, he means like world-class fighters. That's what he means. You're going to have some of the best fighters on that card, and they're going to have a great time. All the people that are allowed to attend in person are going to have a fantastic time. And all the people that are across the street at the park, with big screen TVs and loungers and all that other stuff that's out there, it's going to be huge. It's going to be absolutely huge. So
what they could do is they could just make up championships for like different parts of the government and then be like the Department of War champion and then like just have them fight in the different offices. That'd be one way to do it.
You have the Department of Education and the Department of Education just gets fucking smashed by the Department of War. You're wild, man. I think this is, look, I know we've been talking about the White House card since it basically it came to fruition. Like, people were saying like, oh, what happened to have a White House fight? And everyone's like, yeah, whatever. It ain't happening. And it really is going to happen. So there's a lot to talk about. But we've regurgitated it so many times. Everybody that I've talked to, and I even had Mike Bond on, and he goes, look, there's only gonna be 6 to 7 fights. And I even had somebody else on, and they were talking about David Martin. It's like, they're not gonna have a ton of fights. Don't expect this to be a true UFC card. It's gonna be, he says 8 to 9. I think it's gonna be less than that. I think it's gonna be 6 to 7.
Why wouldn't they do a full card?
It's going to be too difficult. And when you're there in person, it's very difficult to watch that many fights. And what's going to happen is the security for that is going to be ridiculous. That's a lot of money.
The security is going to be there anyway.
No, yeah, I understand what you're saying. The security is going to be there anyways, but you have to amp the security up because you're going to have 5,000 people on the lawn. When was the last time the White House had 5,000 people there? I mean, I don't know how often they host 5,000 people. That's a lot. And then, not to mention this, right across the street is where that park is. And they're going to have Dana said it can kind of house up to 80,000 people. It just seems like that could, there's going to be a lot of security, man. And let's not forget, and I brought this up with Angelo. This all sounds great in theory. But there's protesters, there's antagonizers, there's all these things that we need to keep in mind, And don't expect this thing to run as smooth as everyone thinks. You're going to have these fucking weird, these people out there that are going to try to just destroy something that's good for everyone trying to enjoy it. So
but they have good security anyway. Like the UFC has good security anyway. Like the most kind of brawls you see typically occur or events are between fighters, and I feel like the fighters are going to be a bit more respectful or on better behavior that night of all.
No, I'm not talking about fighters. I'm talking about random people that are across the street. It just they're gonna have to have a lot of security out front too, not just there. And the UFC provides security, but it's mainly the venues that provide the security. So they have security people that work for that venue, whether it's the T-Mobile Arena or if it's MGM or whatever it is.
Do you think that's going to affect the number of fights though?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah, it's just too much. It's going to be too much. They're going to want to get this fight. The card's going to be like, and also too, I just had Rich Chow on. If you guys haven't checked out that interview, check it out. It dropped this morning. Rich and I talked like the relationship that we used to have with CBS. They're once you put fights on real TV with commercials, you can't have more than say 4 fights. It's 4, maybe 5 fights because commercials, you end up having a 5-hour night. I mean, even when CBS was with Bellator, They still only wanted 3 to 4 fights. The reason why is because you're gonna have to fill in all those commercials, which pays them back. And at $1.1 billion, they're gonna have to run a lot of fucking commercials. So this is gonna be like they want to try to keep that window of 3 to 4 hours. And how do you keep that window of 3 to 4 hours? We don't even have commercials during pay-per-views, and it's still 3 to 4 hours. Now you run commercials between rounds, you run commercials between fights.
What do you mean they're gonna want to keep it though?
You don't want to keep what?
You said they're gonna want to keep it 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah, they're not gonna don't expect because it's on CBS, they're gonna run it longer than 3 to 4 hours. People lose interest.
But you don't think a White House UFC cards?
No,
They
I'm
don't.
not just talking about White House. I'm talking about all their cards. I just think this card right here for sure is only going to have 6, 7 fights because of security, the dangers of having so many people there, the activity across the street of, let's just say there's 60,000 people watching it there. I'm going to go low end, 50 to 60,000 people that are out there watching it. You don't know those people. They can come from all over the United States or all over the world to see this event, and it could cause problems. It's too difficult to arrange that. It's way too difficult. Security is going to be another. They're going to either have National Guard there. They're going to have, and who's paying for that? That's another thing. Like that people are going to come out of the woodwork and be like, "Hey, our tax dollars better not be paying for any of this shit." And the UFC said they're paying for it all, but that's a huge expense, huge, and not that they can't afford it. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just simply saying like these are things to keep in mind. The promotions are in business to make money. Now they'll take a hit on this. They'll lose their ass on this because it's probably a once in a lifetime. But this is one of those. This is one of those events that there's a lot that goes into the details of this. And so I think they're only going to have 6 to 7 fights. 8 to 9, 8 to 9 sounds good.
But
It
it's an
does.
investment, right? Like
Yeah.
it's like the return on investment for this is bigger than the cost of like a Conor McGregor to main event it.
Okay, but that's my point is how much are these commercials going to pay? Like think about what they pay
Not just commercials, I think eyeballs, because I think like you draw new eyeballs. Like ESPN drew new eyeballs. The one-off ABC cards like draws new eyeballs. You know, free TV, White House UFC card. Like there's no question it draws n- new eyeballs to the number is worth.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's what I was saying, though. I said, like, the fact that it's gonna be on CBS is gonna draw in like the females that never watch fights. It's gonna draw in the random person that's like, I'm not paying for the pay per view, even though it sounds good, and I can't make it to my friends. Now they're gonna sit down and watch it. But where you lose people is when you have a free event and it's like 4 hours or 5 hours, and they're not really fully invested into like a fighter like how I am into my Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to watch Super Bowl, the whole thing all the way through. Buffalo Bill fans, if they're in the AFC Championship, they're going to watch the game all the way through, and you're not going to lose them over commercials. And those commercials are going to pay, $4 to $6 million for a 30-second or a minute long commercial. How many of those can you fit in without losing your audience? There's a fine line. And so TV is very difficult that way. It's not just about, oh, we're at the White House. That's cool. You may be able to lock them down for the White House card for the 3 to 4 hours, which is fine. But you can't do that. I don't think you're gonna be able to do that every single time. So they're gonna have, and plus it won't be on CBS. I think CBS will always have, I think, 4 to 5 fights, and that's it. I think maybe just 4 because you'll end up those cards with all the commercials will end up being 5 hours, 4 hours. And CBS has never been known to do that. They've always said, like, no, let's keep this thing to 3 hours. We start to lose interest. People start to lose interest when it's free. They'll just turn it off. I'll watch it later, or I can watch it another time. It's free. I didn't have to pay for it. So they're not fully vested if they're not paying for
Again, just think like a one-off card like this, like none of that applies. This is the exception
it.
to the
I
rule.
would I would agree with you on that, but I don't think they're gonna have more fights just because of that.
It would not miss more fights, so like I think the normal number of fights.
Mm. I mean, look, in this card right here that we're having on Saturday night, there's only 11 fights, I believe.
Yeah, I mean
So
that's
what's the
yeah.
what's the normal? Like normally it's 14 to 15.
Yeah, and I think like 5 on the main card, 6 in the prelims is kind of like a normal night.
That's a lot. That's a long night. That's a long night at the White House. I think it's gonna, like I said, I think it's gonna be 6 to 7. I'd be surprised if they did 9. I really
So
would
do you
be.
think just like a main card, or do you think like a main card and a couple of prelims, a shorter main, like a smaller main card? Like, what do you
Yeah,
think?
I think it'll be a split. I could see if you wanted this. I know I'm gonna walk into this. If you did 8, it'd be 4 prelims and 4 main card. I could see that. I guess I could go as far as that, the 8. But I think it's gonna end up being like 3 prelims, and then you're gonna have 4 on the main card. So 6 to 7.
But
6,
but then you
7.
mean you think it
6,
oh,
7.
dude, my kids will not cut that out. When you think about the caliber of like who, because let's be honest, there's guys that there's only certain number of people there's only like certain people you're gonna put on this card, right? You're not putting anybody on this card, right? So then
Ye
maybe that does feed your theory well,
Mhm.
in that you're not putting unranked people. No offense, but you're not putting unranked people on the card that are not bringing name recognition to your brand. You're gonna put the people. You're gonna put names, and you're gonna put people that are gonna put on performances.
Yeah, I think all those things could possibly be true, but I also believe that you once you if let's just say you have Conor McGregor at the top, I don't think you're gonna have a John Jones right below it. I don't think you're gonna have an Alex Pereira right below it. I think you're gonna have a lower level, but not lower level, a lesser draw, but you're gonna still have a top level fight. Let's just say you have like a Marab versus Peter Yan again, right? I'm just
Mhm,
throwing names out here. I'm not saying that's what's
mhm.
happening. Um, but once Connor's there, there's no other draw. You're not gonna get another 5 million views because John Jones is on it. It's just not gonna happen. Everyone that's gonna watch John Jones, and why would I pay John Jones $20 million to fight Alex Pereira when I don't have to? I'm already budgeting for so much for security, and I'm already budgeting so much for service, like everything, everything.
Maybe it won't be like I think there's only 2 or 3 people though that really fall into that category, right? Like
Mhm,
it could be Conor McGregor, and then it could be, 'cause if let's say Conor fights Chandler, let's
mhm.
say that fight happens, but then it could be I'm trying to think of like who your other
Okay, so
champions
look,
are.
this is the way I see it. If I think it's gonna end up being Connor. Okay, let's just say
Mhm,
it's Connor.
mhm,
Connor and Chandler. Let's just say that. Okay.
right, mhm,
Then right after that, I think it's gonna be Ilya. It's gonna be Ilya, and then probably Patty or Justin, because you're gonna get a great fight.
mhm,
You're gonna get if Justin wins, if Justin beats Patty, you're gonna get a knock. Someone's getting knocked out
yeah,
for sure. Someone, and if not, it's gonna be one of the greatest fights ever.
mhm,
Okay. And if you get Patty, you get a whole country. You get the British guy, you get the UK,
mhm,
whatever guy from the UK, you get the guy who's fighting from Spain, but has Georgia heritage. Like you have all that. Like you can build that. Ilya's a big draw. You got Patty or you got Gaethje. So that's your main event and co-main event. It doesn't really matter what you do with the rest of the card because now you have the UK market. You got the Connor effect. You got Chandler kind of brings in the American market a little bit. You got Ilya from Spain. He's got Georgian, heritage. Like you have all these things that connect a bunch of different countries that will get people to watch. And then you stack it with other guys. You stack it with fights like that are not title fights, that are not 5 rounds, but you stack it with guys that you think that you'll get finishes. Who are fighters that you think will look to get finishes that have big power that will go out there and lay it on the line? Like that's you fill the next 2 fights or 3 fights up with those fighters.